Suzanne, can you give us an overview of what's been happening across accountancy and finance recruitment?
Oh, well, over the last 6 months, the volume of assignments has consistently increased month on month. We haven't been this busy since like Q1 2020, I think. It's been a lot busier. We've seen a lot happening at the entry level to the mid-level of the market with a range of roles across different sectors. The range is really broad, with clients hiring across the finance disciplines from AP right through to finance managers. There's also a rise in niche specialist roles such as economists, tax compliance, and systems accounting, which can be particularly difficult for us to resource for. But the pattern of recruitment is fairly even between contract and permanent, which is good because I think for a time we were seeing a lot more happening on the temporary side. But also I would say that we're seeing inquiries from candidates at the more senior end of the market rising, which is really encouraging for us because it's a bit of it would indicate that there's going to be prospective movements in the market moving forwards.
Can I just go back to that point you made about hard to resource roles? Is there a lack of applicants at the moment then?
Most definitely in certain areas, I would say. While the whole market has become busier, we've noticed particularly high demand for professionals at the mid to senior level, CAs with practice experience, newly qualified accountants, statutory reporting, tax, and also payroll and AP. I've also noticed a lot more activity with E&P companies who are searching for qualified accountants and or for their specialist roles that I just mentioned earlier. But whenever there's a bit of a pinch point in candidate availability, we also see a bit of a rise in the counter-offer activity, and that's what we're experiencing now as well. The counter-offers are not solely about a rise in salary. We've had recent instances where candidates have been successfully countered with flexible working and promotions too.
So are you having to manage lots of inquiries around about salaries, and are you doing a lot of benchmarking exercises?
Yeah, well, I would say as yet, these scenarios are not leading to a marked shift in rates of pay or salaries, but yes, definitely, Jack, there's a lot of benchmarking happening. And so I think that we're reaching a bit of a tipping point where counter offers will start to drive up rates of pay more generally.
Okay. Now, in our market updates, we try and give advice for the employer and the job seeker. So let's start with the employer. What would your key recommendations be if you're looking to recruit an accountancy and finance professional right now?
Well, I would say where possible, plan ahead, as your recruitment process could very well take many weeks or even months, depending on the requirement, what the requirement is. There are very few immediately available candidates, which is a real struggle, and most people are preferring permanent work over temporary. In this market as well, I think you have to be persuasive and be able to showcase why someone should want to work for you. Some of the local practice firms do a really good job of this. They're sharing employee stories about career development, training, and team support, for instance. And those things are much more specific to the work people do, as opposed to the more generic company-wide messaging that sometimes we see a bit more frequently.
Okay, that makes sense. They're trying to show what the role's all about and how they can have a really enriched working experience.
Definitely, definitely. There's also a real desire for flexible working and a hybrid working pattern, but some employers are often unclear on this point, and they're losing good people at the application, interview, and even at the offer stages. So I would encourage employers as well to give this some consideration and to what they can do on this point, because it can be a bit of a deal breaker for some candidates.
It is all about trying to think beyond your usual process at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, exactly. And also considering whether you need to change your standard recruitment process to widen the pool of potential candidates. Could you offer job share or part-time? Can the systems experience that you're looking for, can it be taught in-house? Have you considered hiring for skills, attitude, and behaviours rather than focusing on previous experience? So yes, lots of things for employers to consider.
Yeah. And then from the job seeker side, what would your advice be to close, Suze?
Well, I'd encourage them to think carefully about what it is they're looking for in their next move. The market is definitely picking up, so it is a really great time for them to be testing the water, having a look around. And if they have an open mind, it can definitely lead to something exciting and something new for them, something fresh. Their skills are absolutely in demand, and they may have lots of options on the table, but it's still better to make a considered decision rather than make a move that you may regret in the long term. So I'd encourage finance professionals also to get in touch with us. We can give them a good general market update and talk through their circumstances, which often will give them the clarity that they need.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.